Hello and welcome to the Watton Earth podcast, a podcast exploring the influential and interesting characters within my world. The main themes will be about photography, dance and fashion, so if that's what you're interested, this is the new place to be. If not, I hope you come along for the ride anyway. So without further ado, welcome to Watton Earth. Hello and welcome to the Watton Earth podcast, the show where we talk to interesting and inspiring people within my world. We talk photography, dance, fashion, and whatever the fuck else we want to do. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the cowboy camera kid himself, Penney, to the podcast. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Hello. How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
So let's just jump straight into it. I think it's really important for everyone who's listening to kind of get a grasp of who you are and a bit of context to like what you do. So who are you? Where are you from? What are you up to?
Sure. Cool. Well, I'm cowboy camera kid, aka Penney, aka the fast shooter, from Basingstoke. Originally, went to university in Bournemouth. And then came back to now currently living in Basingstoke again. I'm a photographer for a magazine called Off License Magazine. I've been shooting for them for like 4 years, and also I'm a street photographer as well, and try to document the streets of my neighbourhoods and pretty much.
Sick.
A little summary of me, nothing too. Bash.
That's perfect, man.
Right.
Perfect. Because one thing I kind of really caught when I was kind of looking at your work was the characters and the people that you shoot. How do you go about choosing who you shoot? Are they mates? Are they strangers? Like, yeah. What's your kind of?
So I have a kind of different sides to my photography. Like I'm massively into like hip hop documentation, like hip hop photography, and documenting sort of the music scene that's very current now, and so that's like one side of my photography. So that's kind of chosen basically through talent and through who's talented and who's just current at the moment or who's up and coming. And they normally that's the people that shoot are provided through the magazine. So normally I don't even get to choose. I just get given a name, or someone has to go photograph them. And then I have another side that's like my portraiture photography, where I like taking portraits of people that I feel, to me, stand out from the everyday person.
Definitely.
Someone that has a style to them or a look to them which I've never kind of seen before, or has just an outstanding aspect to their style. Like, for example, I was walking down the street in Basingstoke and just saw this woman with the most incredible nails. Like, she had like I've never seen anything like it in Basingstoke before, and she had this big smile and these massive glasses on, and I just was like, okay, that's different. I've never seen that in Basingstoke. And I went up to her and I was like, excuse me, like, just had to like try to talk myself into making her feel comfortable, like try to make her feel comfortable. Like, okay, I've got to make sure that I'm not a weirdo like, approaching her in the street to try and sell her something that she doesn't want, and then just ask them. That's like my portrait side, because that's up close and personal. So I kind of feel like to do that I have to ask them. But my street photography, I don't even ask.
Yeah, mate. I
don't even ask. I just take it, and I see someone walking down the street that's like got something about them. I don't want to intrude on their way of walking or how they're acting or how they look. So I just take it as quick as possible and as natural as possible.
Yeah.
quite invasive. Like it's not very polite. It's quite invasive and it's quite quite rude actually. But
Yeah.
I kind of that street photography style is very much inspired by the likes of like Bruce Gilden, Joel Meinelowitz. I can't ever say his last name, but he's all street photographers from like New York and like New York street photographers. They all like on this. Basically, I watched this documentary when I was in university called Everybody's Street.
Oh yeah.
It's basically about a bunch of street photographers that live in New York. That like just do street photography, and they all have different styles and different like ways of doing their own sort of photography and how they act towards their character or whoever they're trying to photograph. And they all have different styles, and I kind of took like a little bit from each of them, and I was kind of like, okay, I really like that about them, and I really like that about them. So I kind of took a bit of everything and kind of tried to make my own sort of way I work. Sort of my photography.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's super interesting how you have those three kind of ways, because I remember we bumped into each other in the streets of Basingstoke, and you literally spotted someone, like ran after them and snapped as you went along. And I'd never seen anyone shoot like that before. But it was actually like inspirational to be a bit bolder with how you go about capturing those moments. You know, and that's really where you get the reality of life and who these characters are.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's super.
That's it. And it's something about confidence as well. It's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's like they could probably start trying to hurt me, or like, you know, try to like be violent, or like I've had it before where I took a photograph in Bournemouth. I took a photograph of this guy he was in his car eating fish and chips, and I walked past and he had like a big pile of chips in his mouth. And I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. So I walked back, just photographed him twice, like flash through his car window. Like, and he was so angry that he put his chips down on his seat and just chased after me in his car. I was literally like following, like tailing me, like as I was walking along the street and telling me that he was going to beat me up. And I was like, well, I was like kind of like a bit scared because obviously he could just run me over at any point. And I was useless in that respect. But he was like really angry. He actually shouted at me like, "My son's a photographer. What you did was illegal. You're not allowed to do that." And I went, well, I know my rights and I know that it's not illegal.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm going to get my son to come here and teach you how to really shoot photography or something like that. And just shouting loads of like, just random things. And it was kind of, I was like with my friend who was a girl. Like I was with my female friend and she was like quite scared. And she was like trying to drag me away from this, like obviously this angry, middle-aged white male that was like bald, skinhead, like, put his full beams on us and stuff, like hunting us down. It was a bit scary for her. And I was a little bit worried, but like, I guess it's just part of the.
It's the risk you take, isn't it?
Risk you're taking.
Exactly. Sorry? It's the risk you take. It's kind of worth it for the snapping, anyways.
Yeah, that's it. The photo, the saddest thing as well, the photo wasn't even that good. The photo wasn't even that good, like, you know, like, but it's got a story behind it, and it's funny, but it's not a good photograph. There was too much glare on the windows. Yeah,
I bet that's the moment where you went, "Oh fuck, the flash is on." You know,
the glare was just like,
yeah.
I've had a couple moments like that. So.
Yeah, I think one thing that you do very well with your work is like, you seem really embedded in your cultures that you're shooting. Because I'm a dance photographer, hip hop, that kind of underground scene there. Like, I feel like some of my strength is the fact that I know these people, that I'm in that community. Do you think that has an effect on your work? How you can shoot the people that you do? Like,
definitely, 100%. Like, so like a lot of my So if I was going to a day's shift, or I could call it a shift, it's not even a shift. So if I'm going to a day's work,
Yeah.
where I'm going to meet somebody that I've never met before, that's a musician, that's very well, like doing very well for himself, or even just up and coming, but it's like growing so rapidly fast. And
Yeah.
I go and meet them, and the best shoots I've ever had is where we go, we meet, we talk, we get a couple drinks, we just talk, we just see what's going, get to know each other a bit more, get comfortable on our own in the presence of one another, and then we photograph, and we have that, you've already got that relationship, we've already made each other kind of laugh and understand one another and what we want, and then we take the photographs. And for me, in terms of for the magazine and also other shoots in the past, it's like as soon as you make that connection with that somebody, they can trust you. Those photographs that you make are so much better than the ones where, say, you're in a rush, they've got to be somewhere, you've got to be somewhere, let's just take photos quick and let's do it, then we've got to go, sort of thing. They're always there's not much to them, there's not much depth to the photo. So yeah, definitely I feel like that connection, whether or not you've known them for 9 years, like some of my portraits of my closest friends, or you've met them in the morning and you photographed them in the afternoon. The afternoon photographs are always going to be better than the morning ones, because they're more comfortable. They let themselves out, and that's what you want to capture. Like you said, you want to capture themselves at their fullest, or at their most real, or with their least amount of like guards up.
Yeah.
You want to capture them in their truest self.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely, I feel like, knowing somebody or getting to know somebody quick.
Yeah.
Or making them feel comfortable around you within a matter of minutes. Like when I'm doing street photography, I have to do that. Like sometimes, like when I want to ask someone to take a photograph of them in the street, I've got to make them feel comfortable with me in a matter of minutes. And I actually kind of not patterned it, but like made a good sort of in. I'd go up to somebody and be like, "Hello, I'm a student at AB. I'm doing a photography project. Do you mind if I take a photograph?" And instantly they go, "Okay, this guy doesn't work for a magazine or doesn't work for a newspaper, doesn't want to get your photo and sell it to the world. He's just doing an art project." So instantly they felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, as soon as they knew that, they were kind of like, okay, it's just a student. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like I'd always get it like, are you gonna sell this photograph, or are you gonna sell it to a newspaper? And I was like, nah, I'm not. Because I photograph a lot of old people, so they kind of have like that sort of classic scared to go into a newspaper and be sold to the world as some sort of like villain or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that sounds like.
So that's like one of.
Yeah, that's a different skill in itself, isn't it? Really, is making your people feel comfortable, and actually, that's where those great images come from. Is when both of you are in that flow state, that kind of being truly authentic to who the people are you're shooting. Yeah. That's great. Do you have like a moment in your photography journey yet, or where your concept or your approach to photography or your style really changed? And if so, like when was that, or what happened?
Okay. So I guess like going to uni really affected it quite massively, because like it gave me the opportunity to learn so much more and be surrounded by photographers that are all doing the same thing, like try to just do photography. Because before I was kind of because I never got taught photography, I went to college for like a week, not a week, like a year, and barely went in. I probably went for a week to actually went in. Like I barely got taught photography. Like so I kind of taught myself with my brother, my older brother, who's like 4 years older. We're both quite like massively into photography, and so I kind of taught myself with him. We taught each other. Like no one actually taught us how to use a camera. So like all these mistakes I was making kind of were easily answered when I got to the university. Like I had people around me that were learning it. They could help me better my photography, or they would teach me something. I'd be like, oh right, you did that, okay, that makes sense, sick, okay, do that. And also like I used to sneak into the photography labs and I developed my film for free, so that massively helped me with my style, because I was able to do things for free instead of having to pay loads of money to get it developed. And the teacher actually gave me film for free because they thought I was on photography, because I spent so much time in the photography labs like developing, and like they found out that I wasn't on photography. They kicked me out, and then they actually enrolled me back in to allow me to use all the equipment because they liked me so much.
That's sick.
So it's kind of like that massively changed my style, or in terms of helped me progress so much faster. So I kind of found my feet found my feet within university because of that. Yeah. Basically. So I mean, I'd say that was the biggest thing. There's nothing really, and obviously the magazine as well, that helped me change. The way that I interact with people, and because I like trying not to like idolize people as well, like, or like try to be fanboys, like trying not to be a fanboy towards the people that I'm photographing, never really happened until I went to work for them. I didn't really know who I was photographing before, unless they were my friends already. So that definitely changed my way of dealing with the situation, and how I spoke and kind of acted with the individuals. So it's the magazine and the university kind of also were happening like parallel, so it was kind of happening at the same time. I don't know, maybe I'm babbling a bit here, but I think that's the university and magazine.
Beautiful. Kind of like a two-part question left to finish it off. I think kind of at the moment it's tricky not to have a conversation and discuss what's going on in the world. How is kind of COVID affect the way that you shoot and what you shoot? And then kind of to go along with that, if 2020 was a picture or a piece of art, what would it look like?
Okay, so first and foremost, how has COVID affected photography? So one part of it massively for me in my street photography, it's completely made it it's completely killed my photography. My street photography's been killed. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not taking photographs of people in the streets. I'm not taking any street photography. I'm not wasting my time doing it, because for me, I believe that what I love is individual people looking, and I feel like the first part of it is that everyone looks the same. Everyone's looking very similar, and that's not really what I like in my street photography. I don't want you to be able to pinpoint where I took that photograph or what year I took that photograph. I like my photographs to be like timeless, like, or like borderline timeless. Okay, they've got a phone in their hand, but that could be any point from 2020 to all the way to 2000. Like, you can't tell when that photograph was taken. Or I don't really want my photos to be full of people, everyone wearing a mask, because everyone is taking that photograph now. Every single photographer in the whole world is taking that photograph. It's the same photograph, it's just different people. So for me, that's not my style. That's not the way that I like to work. I like to have photographs that no one else can take. that's the best photograph for me, is a photograph that I know that you went out of a camera, you would never be able to get that photograph, because that was a one moment opportunity that would never be able to be recreated if you tried your hardest. But everyone is able to take photographs of people in the streets with masks on, because it's happening globally, and that's not cool. I'm not saying it can't get photographs that will be amazing, like that definitely can happen, but it's, for me, that's not what I don't want to capture that. I'll let everyone else do it, and when it all goes back to normal, I'll come back out with my camera and do more street photography. And also, it's put a hold on a lot of things, a lot of work. I feel like it's going to change the way that I can interact with people as a job, and it has slowed everything down, but it's given me time to save money, so that I know now I can afford to buy film, now I can afford to buy a new camera or buy more equipment to perfect my photography in the future. So I'm grateful for it as well, because it's given me the opportunity to save. But yeah, I've kind of been a bit quiet in terms of the photography at the moment. But I'm stocking on. I've got so many photographs in the archive that I could probably make 10 right now. No, I could probably post on Instagram for the rest of my life, and people would think I'm working as a photographer forever. Yeah. But I'm not. I've just taken so many photographs that I've got an archive. And can you just repeat the last question?
Yeah,
part of the question.
If you could put kind of 2020 into like a photograph or a piece of art or something like that, what would it look like? What would you shoot?
What would I shoot? 2020. What would I shoot? It's hard, you know.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Like, if I could photograph 2020, like a real struggle, if I could do it like as a photograph, I'd probably try and do like a photo series from inside a struggling hospital.
Yeah.
Probably in the midst of COVID, in the midst of the pandemic. I could do a photo series of inside the pandemic, or in a hospital that's struggling within the pandemic, and try not to get in the way. But I'd say that was 2020, like doing a photo series in a struggling hospital, let's say like in London, or in New York, or somewhere probably local because of that, or just in a hospital that struggled in the UK. Do a photo series in there. That'd probably be the best way of describing 2020. For me, as a documentary photographer, that'd probably be the best thing. Obviously, it'd be dangerous as well, put myself on the front line, but you know, you've got to do that as a doctor, you've got to do that as a photographer. So
it goes back to taking those risks for the shots, doesn't it?
Like,
I think that's really actually like super interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
and that's true, and that, I feel like that talks to you as an artist, of wanting to be in that moment, of whether it's with these interesting people or like what's going on, is you're very much like you want to be living in that authentic moment and take the photo, you know. That's what I do anyways. So yeah, mate, well, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? Where can people keep up to date with what you're doing? Let the people know.
Yeah. So I've got Instagram. Asher Penney is the art. I've got a website coming soon, but it's not up and running yet because I had to take it down to just edit it and perfect it. But that will all be on my Instagram as well. I've also got a couple short films coming out soon as well that will be on a Vimeo, that will be documentary short films that are coming out and stuff. So yeah, just on my Instagram, man.
Sick one.
Yeah, Asher Penney.
I'll chuck everything.
Pick up off that. Oh,
Beautiful.
off
Yeah,
that magazine.
I'll put everything in links, whatever. I'll and share everything else for you as well, because that sounds exciting, man. Looking forward to it all. Once again, finally, thank you for coming on. And thank you to everyone for listening to the Watton Earth podcast. See you next. Sick one.